What's going on, gamers? This video, thank God this topic is now put in its place, right? As everybody's starting to see everything has been fake and blown out of proportion and misunderstood. And we know all those things, are definitely happening when it comes to the PS5 DRM drama. But now we're talking about the PS5 versus Xbox DRM drama comparisons, which has been totally off, right? Does it play? Started off with him because we can go back a few days. I'm going to get some other posts saying, as some of you pointed out, yes, everybody should keep an eye on the discovered PlayStation DRM timer until actually fixed. We know the truth now. It was to fix hacking and exploits or jailbreak PlayStation 5s. They were trying to get free copies. It might not have been activated on purpose this time, but it still exists. This is where people go off the deep end. Similar thing, Xbox rightfully got slaughtered for during the Xbox One reveal. This is where everything is wrong when people thought this comparison was the same as the Xbox comparison. And I want to say that because it's like, why do you think this is the same? Microsoft did that at the beginning of 2013, the beginning of their generation. And not only that, it applied to physical. You couldn't even share your games. I mean, it was terrible. And they ruined the beginning of their generation because of that. And this was at the very beginning. And this was something they actually tried to do way too early back in 2013. We're talking about 13 plus years ago when digital dominance was not there. It wasn't even close. So this is a thing where I'm like, how do you think this is the same, right? Let's go back here a little bit because I got a bunch of likes here. King J has something going on saying, seeing conflicting reports about this PlayStation DRM situation. So I'll wait for an official response from Sony, which they should do, even if it's just a bug. But the comparisons to the Xbox One DRM situation has got to stop. Y'all must have forgotten the details. And this is what I'm talking about, where I say that if you want to compare something, make sure that it can be compared, because it doesn't make any sense by thinking that comparisons are the same. They're not even close. And this is something Microsoft really tried to do, that they put out in front of the world at E3, in front of millions and millions of people and across the world to millions and millions and millions of gamers consistently. You know what I mean? It's like something you tried to do that you thought was going to be okay. Sony did not come out and announce this to the entire world. It was not the beginning of their generation. And digital was like 80 something percent across the entire planet. Netflix, everybody uses it, even outside of gaming. It's massively dominant. This situation is completely different and far more damaging. And Sony is not in that situation to throw away some generation. Like you got some people saying, you're just going to help the Xbox Helix next gen. What are you talking about? It's not a next gen console and it will barely sell anything. It's going to be in a ROG Ally situation. And it's going to be way too overpriced. They're not a threat to PlayStation and they never will be again. Like, wake up. So the Xbox DRM controversy centered on Microsoft's original plan to impose strict online requirements on the console, which many gamers saw a major restriction on freedom and ownership. The original plan, 2013, when Microsoft unveiled the Xbox One, it proposed always on DRM. Consoles would need to connect to the internet at least once every 24 hours to validate game license. Do you understand how insane that was in 2013? It was absolutely insane. Like, when you think about what they're trying to do before they even launched anything with the TV aspects, everything, it's like, what? And then they told you to go get a 360 if you had a problem. Sony didn't do any of that. It's like, hold on, wait, what? Every 24 hours, like that time limit back then is absolutely insane. And I want you to understand that this also applied to physical media. They were trying to kill physical media ownership at that time. They thought that would have been okay. Digital was not dominant at that time. So they're trying to control what you're doing after you physically drove to somewhere like GameStop and paid money and did all that. Microsoft was trying to get a monopoly on all of that. This meant games could be unplayable if the console lost internet for even a day. Do you know how insane that was back then? Internet back then was a lot more tough to get compared to even now. There was people that really could not. Like, you have to really think about that. Definitely if you go on vacation or anything. No, you could not. You had to connect to the internet. So I want you to think how this would have been anywhere near, definitely the moment, the timing at the beginning of the generation, the same as Sony's 30-day validation so that people could not exploit a aspect of PlayStation 5. It's a security issue. And even if it was not that, how could this 24 hours still be the same, which it applies to physical media too, as even that? Even if that was the case, let's give you some bread and butter on that, right? You see what I mean? No. This is where you realize the insecurity of an Xbox butthurt fanboy. the insecurity of somebody else that just wants to overhate on the PlayStation brand without realizing that this is not even close to being the same. It just says a lot about individuals. It says nothing about anybody else. Or it says nothing about PlayStation or even Xbox at the point. It says a lot about how their mind looks at things and how they actually want things to be. Because it's like, you really have to be more intelligent than this. I'm not talking about the lamester loser. Because we know he's a loser. Nobody takes him serious. He's the only one that reacts to and everybody else is like, they're not going to be dumb because they're like, you know, we have a different way of doing things. Like, we're going to be intelligent here. You know what I mean? When you see that there's only one person going off the deep end, then they start bringing up stuff, attacking certain things that because people are, they like who they like gender-wise. Like, dude, why are you even bringing that up? And then, like, just stuff in people's real life again. It's like, there you go again. Just like you did with Reforge's wife. Like, what are you doing? Why are you bringing that type of stuff up? I thought we were talking about this. It's like, this is where people are just scumbags. And instead of admitting that you were wrong and you jumped the gun again, you lack self-correction. You have poor character, and you're emotionally weak and undeveloped because you can't admit that you're out of place and that you go out of your way again and do something wrong towards somebody, but you can't come out like a man and address that you were wrong and admit that. This isn't pride either. This is, when I look inside your ears and eyes, I see a brick wall. You're completely ignorant and you have a low IQ. Like I said, the more intelligent you are, the more you will show it. But of course, you're not going to do that because you're not strong enough. You're weak inside and you're hiding. So restrictions on game sharing, limits on lending. And if you guys are wondering, there's somebody that tried to attack me and react off of me because they wanted to feel better about Xbox's failures and they couldn't handle it. Then you got other people in the Xbox community, same guy that is sending him after me like some attack dog that can't come after me himself because I'll rip him in half. And he knows he can't beef with me. Yeah. Get back in your place because you don't want none. Limits on lending, you don't. Reselling or gifting disc-based games with rules set by publishers. Restrictions on game sharing. They're trying to tell you how to share your games. See, limits on lending, reselling. You can't even resell. They're trying to restrict rules on other stores that probably allow that. You see, this was just full-blown insanity. Or gifting disc-based games with rules set by publishers. Region locking. Games from one region could not be played on consoles from another region. So we want to talk about Sony denying crossplay during those times. Microsoft was trying to actually region lock you so that they could get more sales and put a DRM lock and restrict you from lending. You couldn't sell it back in 2013. I want you guys to really think about how you thought this was somewhat even close in the same field and bracket. Definitely when you think about the timings, the conditions, the situations in 2013 compared to 2026, how it's even remotely the same as Sony's situation. And now since the cat's out the bag, and we know why Sony did that, they're just patching a security exploit. Right? That's what they're doing. That's why they didn't have to come out and say anything to you because it had nothing to do with you. According to what we understand, unless Sony officially comes out and says something else, see, this is called being intelligent. Unless Sony officially comes out and says something else, we pretty much got the final answer at the moment. We could leave that door open because who knows, right? But they're not saying anything still because they're probably saying, man, all these, this just reminds me of politics. A bunch of mindless sheep running around with false information, raging, throwing stuff all over the place. Does this remind you of politics? For people who just get brainwashed like mindless sheep running around in hordes, having hundreds of millions of views over these posts, but the majority of it is wrong. This is what I'm saying, man. A bunch of sleepwalkers, bro. And like when things get, unveiled, when a part of the curtain gets pulled down, I said, really, this is what it was the whole time. What did the sheep do? They rush off somewhere else ignorantly. Nothing new. And then you wonder why politics is the way it has been. And it's the same game over and over again, no matter which side you go to. And they keep on getting deceived and they keep on falling for it because they're so ignorant. That's why you need more shepherds in this world to cull the sheep, because if not, they're so mindless and ignorant. Then you got the other people as well. It's like, look, man, you really have to play this game the right way and learn how to benefit humanity. Learn how to like actually do this because you actually want to help people understand things, not because you want to bum off of somebody and leech off of somebody else's videos 24/7 and just attack other people 24/7. You're not much of a content creator then. You have to benefit humanity. You have to have a way of saying, now do we all understand this? And AGN has built up to this. And I've been covering so many different topics on my channel, historically, all the way back to Assassin's Creed, all the way to now. And everybody's seen how many different topics I've covered. I've covered the Steam machine. I did Xbox versus PlayStation. I've criticized PlayStation. I've criticized Xbox. I've criticized Nintendo, maybe not as much. I've covered Nintendo. I've covered Nvidia. I've covered the RAM topics. I've covered situations with Charlie Kirk when that happened. Everybody saw my reactions to MBG during that time, how people need to be better. I've done so many different topics. It's not just one direction. And then I'm covering PSSR too. I've shown that I can cover so many different topics on my channel without sitting there all day just harassing people. And anybody that I did do that to, they saw I went and made amends, and I've made reactions off of them, and I made my amends. Yeah, you think you could compare this lamester guy to me? Dude, he doesn't come close to me when it comes to character and quality and integrity and all. Like, it's not a comparison. It never is. Comparison is the thief of joy in that sort of sense. It's like, no, you go in your own bracket and I stand in purple and gold. I don't want nothing to do with that bottom red ignorant energy, speaking from a spiritual standpoint, because it's like, that's why I don't reply to you. None of my videos are ever going to, none of your videos are ever going to be shown on my content, because not going to happen. Like I said, I don't take you serious. So this is where I had to say about this, because a lot of people were thinking that this comparison was the same. It's like, now we understand this too. It's like, no, it's not the same, right? Not even close. This is a totally different situation. And the damage they did since then, they never recovered. Sony is never, that's never going to happen. They're still going to hit their 100 million. They're going to get all their first party games out. GTA 6 is going to release. They're going to blow past 100 million. You guys, you see what I mean? Like, there's nothing you can do about it. The generation is pretty much sealed. So we have one more post too down here by PlayStation Ultimate. Let's see, people with the Xbox One and its DRM. It doesn't even resemble the PlayStation stuff, because Xbox One thing was even on physical games, excuse me. Don't know if you remember, you had to pay to lend the game and the uproar that caused over being able to sell your game. That's why the video on how to lend games on PS4 and physical. And then you have people trying to bring that up like that was the same. I said, how is this the same? What do you think they're talking about at that time? It wasn't digital dominance. What the hell does that even have to do with digital games from digital stores? This is where I say, dude, guys, I don't want to say this. Look, if some of you in the Xbox community, I know some of you are cool, but I swear they have the lowest intelligence in the gaming community. It can be very embarrassing sometimes. It's a lot of politics over there a lot of times, where it's like, how many times are you going to get brainwashed to run for the same thing in front of you over and over again? It's like a loophole that you never wake up from. And then like the insecurities and ignorance, it's like, you really have to represent your community better. There's nothing wrong with beefing with people. But when you see the way people do things, it's like, oh my God, man. No. So AGN has covered this once again. We get the idea here from this post right here. This is how things actually worked. The PlayStation 5 drama was blown out of proportion massively. The PlayStation hate is out of control massively. Just like the Nintendo hate was out of control massively. But what ended up happening to all that? Stop being so insecure. Admit when you were wrong and correct yourself. This is why AGN kept on making videos. Even when I said that, I said, okay, this is what it is now. You know what I mean? It's real. I didn't sit there and hide and try to dodge it, or no, you face it. And look where I'm at now. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this comparison and how this needed to be addressed, because people were wrong. That's why I went in and highlighted this. Once again, guys, keep on gaming keywords no matter what platform you're on. Whatever makes you happy, right? Don't be a loser. Be a winner. Don't be a coward. Be courageous. Understand what self-correction means. Get out of your delusional ego. Later, y'all.